In the spring of 1913, Atlanta, Georgia, was buzzing with the usual life of the city. Children played in the streets, factory whistles echoed, and the city prepared for Confederate Memorial Day. But behind the doors of the National Pencil Factory, a horror was about to unfold. A tragedy so shocking that it would divide a city, a state, and even the nation. On the morning of April 26th, a 13-year-old girl named Mary Phagan arrived at the factory to collect her weekly pay, just $1.20 for a week's work. She was cheerful, hard-working, and dreaming of a better life, but she would never make it home. Hours later, her lifeless body was discovered in the dark basement of the factory. She had been struck on the head, assaulted, and strangled with a torn piece of her own dress. The city of Atlanta was stunned. How could such a young, innocent girl be murdered in broad daylight? The police acted quickly, and soon a suspect emerged, Leo Frank, the superintendent of the factory. He was well-educated, a Jewish man from the north, and suddenly he became the face of the city's anger and fear. The case exploded in the newspapers. Headlines screamed of betrayal, scandal, and outrage. Tensions in Atlanta ran high. Racial prejudice, anti-Semitism, and deep social divides made this case more than a murder. It became a national crisis. But the evidence was far from clear. The main witness against Frank was Jim Conley, the factory janitor. Conley's story changed 4 times during the investigation, each version more detailed, more damning for Frank. Frank, on the other hand, maintained the same story from the very beginning. He had multiple witnesses placing him elsewhere. No physical evidence tied him to the crime. And yet, public pressure and media hysteria painted him as guilty. When the trial began, the courtroom was packed. Crowds shouted, "Hang the Jew!" before a single verdict was delivered. The atmosphere was electric, hostile, dangerous, and biased. Despite the lack of solid evidence, Leo Frank was convicted and sentenced to death. Not because justice demanded it, but because the city wanted someone to blame. As years passed, new evidence suggested a chilling possibility. Jim Conley, the janitor and key witness, may have been the true killer all along. Yet the machinery of injustice had already set in motion. Governor John Slayton, after reviewing the evidence, commuted Frank's sentence to life in prison. But this decision enraged the city. Angry mobs were not satisfied with a courtroom decision. And on August 16, 1915, a group of masked men, calling themselves the Knights of Mary Phagan, kidnapped Leo Frank from prison. They drove him 175 miles to Marietta, Georgia. Under the cover of darkness, they hanged him from an oak tree. No one was ever punished. Mary Phagan's story became more than just a murder case. It sparked the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan, fueled debates about justice and prejudice, and led to the rise of the Anti-Defamation League. Her death changed America, yet the true story behind the murder remains uncertain. Today, over a century later, questions remain. Who truly killed Mary Phagan? Was Leo Frank innocent? Did Jim Conley act alone? One thing is certain. Mary Phagan was an innocent child, a life cut tragically short, whose murder became a dark reflection of America's flaws. Her story reminds us that justice is fragile, truth can be buried, and some tragedies are never truly forgotten.